Well, welcome, Prash. Thank you very much for joining me on the show. How are you today?
Thanks for having me, Nick. I am fantastic. It's a Friday. I'm a happy man. You've had a good week, and I'm looking forward to the weekend. How
Oh,
about yourself?
I'm good. Look, it's been a busy week. As you know, the market's a bit crazy at the moment in my world of recruiting, and now yours in real estate as well. But yeah, no, it's been good. It's been good. But look, I again very grateful to have you on the show. I mean, the last time we caught out, and it was a chance meeting because we've known each other for a very long time. Back when
Absolutely.
one of my great team members actually introduced us at a function, and then recently at the last meeting was a life size plans launch in WA, which was absolutely amazing, and we caught up then.
Indeed, with the PropTech Hub, and yeah, it was a chance meeting. We had a wonderful evening, man, having a conversation and catching up. It's good to see what you're doing in your world now, and I do appreciate once again the opportunity and the invite to your podcast.
Oh, fantastic, Prash. Thank you. Now, look, you're a busy man yourself. You're the CEO of the Real Estate Times. You're the founder of REXY AI, and we'll talk about that a bit. And
Yes.
obviously, you're a real estate marketing expert in your field in Perth. Mate, talk to me about. I want to get into the real estate side of it first up. Who inspired you to get into that? Now, this has been nearly 10 years you've been in real estate.
That's correct, Nick. See, I started actually, I studied international business, came here from Asia. When I got out of university, I was looking for a job. It's a part-time job that I found, and it was a door knocking job, Nick. So you know, in the world of real estate, one of the toughest skills to learn. And I was selling automotive insurance up in Rockingham. And one day, while I was door knocking and selling these cards, these pamphlets, that I wish now if I had a chance to redo it again, I'll know exactly what to say. But I was very fortunate to meet a real estate agent at that time was part of SLP, just starting up, in 2013. And he said, at that time at the door, he said, "Son, come on in, and I'll purchase three of your vouchers, of your coupons, right?" And so I was very excited. I walked in. As I was signing him up, he asked me, "Are you interested in real estate? You're door knocking. Perhaps this could be an opportunity for you to get into the property game." And I said, "To be honest with you, friend, I don't know anything about real estate, but I'm willing to give it a try, right? I was young, I'll give it a risk. Why not?" Didn't expect him to call me back, Nick. Few days later, the CEO of the time, Brad Quinn, SLP, rang me and said, "Come on in, let's have a chat." And the rest was history, Nick. I started up in admin, worked my way through understanding the legals of real estate. And when I was looking for a sales role, as you know, the concept of SLP was about being your own independent agent. I thought it's best that I gain some more experience. Again, went door knocking to agencies and found a great fit in Harcourt's integrity. Those were the three directors, John Caputo, Michael Clay, and Pratt, who gave me an opportunity to start. And today I'm still with the same team.
Yes, you are. That's a long journey, actually. I know they've rebranded now as an independent, but that everything you've
Mm.
just said is rare. It's the way it should start, but the way you've actually continued and being loyal to that brand, who've also reciprocated that as well, because they're a great office, great team.
Absolutely. And as you said, they've just rebranded now. I've stayed with them. I'm now called Perth Realty Group. They're still in Maylands. And we operate in the surround. So as you said, the most important thing to me in any business, Nick, I believe it's the essence of the team. And if I can work within that team and grow myself, which I've done with Real Estate Times and Rexy, then that's essentially all I can ask for.
Absolutely. Now that's a great lead in. Now, when we last met at the event, we were chatting that you are growing a team now, so it's starting to be, a real leadership role for you now with the team within the same brand, by the way, too, which is quite interesting. So,
Yes.
talk to me about that. Who's on your team? Where you at with that?
No problem. So at the moment, we do have an admin manager. We call her. She's everything for us. That's Evie Rose. She runs the front end at Perth Realty Group, and she's fantastic at what she does. She's basically our customer liaison. We have a prospecting team that's working on ringing cold leads, basically, and introducing them to myself. After which, I go in and meet the homeowners and say hello. And also we have a buyer's agents that's working basically with buyers interstate. In the last 12 months, as you know, Nick, there's been a massive increase over COVID, in fact, so more 2 years of interstate buyers. And this particular gentleman works with interstate buyers and local to connect them to properties that we have on market, which we sell with Perth Realty Group, and off portals, which we connect via REXY for other agents as well. So that's where we are at the moment, still focusing on growing our systems and making sure it's down packed so we can service our client through the property journey.
Fantastic. So talk to me about that. You've got to the lead, the property comes through your team, and you go in there, obviously representing the team as the lead agent, and then you've got other
Yes.
people around you that will do different roles. How do you present those other cogs in your wheel, those team members to really lift them up, to make them equally? Because I know this happens a lot where you've got a lead agent and, oh yeah, that's my PA, but the way you're doing it is a little bit different, and I think you're selling those people in a really good way to these sellers that actually makes them feel like that's who they want to deal with for that role, not you. So how does that work?
Great question, Nick. I believe in lateral leadership. I think that the hardest thing to bring into any structure is the essence of hierarchy, which always is present. But I believe hierarchy only comes in delegation of roles.
Mm.
But if we lead laterally and we make them, firstly, our team members realize how important their role actually is, and that my weakness is their strengths and vice versa. Their strength is my weakness. When we're sitting with the clients before engaging in a campaign moving forward, we explain how these roles will transpire throughout the process. Firstly, where and when they will be communicating with each of these people within the team, and how that journey will proceed from A to Z. As you know, Nick, in real estate, there are many things that happen outside of our circle of influence, and our job is to put out those fires, right?
That's
So
true.
that's what I prepare my, yeah. I prepare my clients for, Nick. I say that, listen, anything can happen from A to Z, but in the event that this is to happen, this is who we have on our site. And when you're engaging me, you're not just engaging one agent, you're also engaging our team members in their respective role. And more importantly, you're backed by the experience of Brad, John, and Michael, who've been in the industry collectively for over 70 years now. So
Mm.
I think that's how we carry it forward to our clients, and thankfully it has been received well.
Fantastic. And so what is, when you and I both know that it's real estate can be very difficult to structure if you let it consume you. So and I
Yes,
know the hours you do, and the hours you keep, and there's not very often times that you're at your home more than someone else's. So that's the life of a real estate agent. So what does your day look
yes,
like when you start? And do you have structure not only within that day, but throughout the
yes.
week where there's certain things you say, right, Tuesday I'm doing my marketing, Thursday's my Sunday. What does that look like to you? How does it start and how does it end?
Sure. Sure, I'll start off with my first day of the week. Essentially, it is Sunday. I finish my home opens up at 2:30, 3 o'clock. And I love cooking, Nick. So that's my time out. It grounds me, reminds me of home. My parents are back home. So, they make, my mom makes an incredible chicken curry that I've been trying to master for the last 13 years. Hasn't happened quite yet, but I'll get there. So I spend my Sunday evenings, essentially just making a meal for myself, and and my partner, and we make sure that she's happy too on that Sunday. It's a time
Cool.
that we spend together, happy wife, happy life. And at that point, while I'm doing that grounding, or moment of grounding, I take my time to look at the calendar, Nick, and I map out my entire week. So what I do is that on my Monday mornings is essentially my team broadcast email. I send out an email to my team letting them know lessons learned from last week, what we can do this week, and some words of encouragement that I have had from previous mentors over the years, that I have collated. So I put that down in the same email, send that out to the team. We then structure our week as such. Every morning to afternoon is essentially our prospecting time. We spend our time reaching out to every client that needs our help, firstly, could potentially require our assistance, and is looking to purchase in the near future. So three key things that we focus on, and we have that, of course, in our systems and in a follow-up plan. Tuesday mornings is our sales meeting that we meet up in the office every week, just to sit down and share our successes and challenges that we face, and what we can do for the next 7 days. Wednesday mornings is essentially my preparation for the upcoming weekend. So we set our home opens, we set our buyer inspections, we make sure we've attended to all inquiries. The afternoons from Wednesday to Friday, so essentially 1 to 6 p.m., is preset with, I love blocking my calendars. So I've blocked them out with seller appointments. And if we can fill them with seller appointments, that's fantastic. We meet our clients in the afternoon to the evenings, and we see what we can do to assist them through the property journey that they require. So that's my Wednesday to Friday. And then Saturday is, as you know, in the real estate game, they call it the game day.
Yeah,
I essentially don't call it that, Nick. I call it the day that I go out to meet more clients, more buyers, that we can help. I
yeah.
think that's something that I've really got in tune with. The idea of being rewarded through helping people's journeys. As we know, over COVID, Nick, one of the hardest things people have found is to find shelter. So I think I've really found that essence of being rewarded through helping them, and that's how I see my Saturdays. In some cases, it doesn't necessarily, reward me in the dollar sense because there's more time spent. But that's why I'm still here, thankfully. After almost a decade now, my friend, and that we can help these people. So yeah, that's my Saturdays, and it begins again on the Sunday.
Absolutely. And look, you know what? I love, Prash, what you said there. And interestingly enough, timing wise, I was speaking to a young person yesterday who was looking to get into the industry. And
Hmm.
we were talking, and I like to let the conversation go as part of my process when I'm doing a sort of a phone screen, because very often things come out that, you wouldn't need, you don't even need to ask, it just comes out. And the why came out. Now, you've mentioned your why, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And the reason it's a really important to me is a lot of people get into this industry, which is what we're talking about, is I love houses. And that's great. It's probably a very minor part of it. It's everything you've
True.
just said. I recall when I was in the new homes industry and I was running a sales team, and I came in and I spoke to these guys. There was about 8 people in there, and I said, "Look, you are not selling a house. This isn't
Mhm.
about four walls and a roof. Anyone can do that." And I said, we are talking
Yes.
about the hopes and the dreams that these people move into this home that they're going to have, they're going to enjoy. They're going to have happy moments
Indeed.
and they're going to have sad moments.
Mm.
But that is what you are actually selling them. There, and that's your
Well
why.
said.
So no, I always say to people, there's always the same reasons when people want to buy or sell a house. You just need to
Mm.
identify what it is, you know, and then you're
Well said, Nick.
part of their journey forever. And I think, Prash, you've
Yes.
got that essence and that leadership style. And I love your setting the calendar up, blocking time out, even if it's not a real meeting, is fantastic.
So important. No, I appreciate that, Nick. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And look, great leadership is also about, you work hard, you have to work hard, but the rewards do come. But the reality is you've also got to book time in there for yourself. It can't just be about everyone else. I liken it to the phrase that the air hostesses say in the event of an emergency and the oxygen mask come down, put it on yourself first before you help,
Yes.
young kids and older people. And that's what you need
Yes.
to do. What are you doing to recharge? What do you do to
Sure.
say, right, this is Prash's time. I need it.
Sure. Sure. The two things that I do during the week, Nick. One is that I enjoy exercising. I think I've been working out since, or at least consistently, since COVID began. So I took up the kettlebell friend, and it has been, one of my best friends over COVID. And kettlebell is something that I can do at home.
Mm.
So every alternate days, I aim for 100 push-ups. That's in my calendar, and a little bit of a kettlebell workout. And it's comprehensive. It's full body. It gets the blood pumping, and it starts me off in the morning. During this period, my phone is basically on a do not disturb. The idea is that I'm not looking at social media, I'm not on my emails, which is, highly tempting to do. So I
Yeah,
can't deny that there are some mornings that it happens. But yes, I get that I have my do not disturb on just so I could have that time to myself. I enjoy the second part to that is I enjoy music and reading. So I play a little bit of the acoustic guitar and I
lovely.
stress on a little bit. And I just pick it up and I just play some tunes, man. I love classic rock, so when I can play some classic rock and some Indian music, exactly. You know it, Nick. Again, it's all about grounding, right? So takes me back to my childhood, and that moment, I believe, is somewhat like meditation. Similarly to reading, I transport myself, into another world. I aim to read about 2 or 3 books a month, be it
Nice.
on Audible, be it physical books. Still very much a lover of hardcover books.
Yes,
So yes, that's those are the two things that I do for myself, Nick, and I try to
fantastic.
do that on a weekly basis.
Yeah, excellent. So, what are you reading at the moment? Do you prefer, are you into fictions, or you do a lot? It's a bit of self-development books as well.
Yeah. Well, most of my self-development books, I try and put them on Audible, Nick. To be honest, it's hard for me to read a self-development book when I don't hear the voice of the person that's
Okay.
explaining it to me. So I love it when it is, when I'm listening to something and it is that same person who has written the self-help book. Because essentially with self-help, and you would be well versed with this at the moment, Nick, it's hearing the intonation and the spirit behind why that helped that person
Mm.
and how that can translate to you. So if you're reading it in your own voice. It's something that you haven't experienced. So I find it hard to relate that way. So when it comes to self-help, it's audibles. But when it comes to fiction, it's definitely hardcover. I'm reading the story about Robert J. Oppenheimer actually at the moment. So it's American Prometheus, and it's a story of the creator of the nuclear weapon, yeah, and it will be adapted by Christopher Nolan, one of my favorite directors. So I rarely pick up autobiographies. This is somewhat an autobiography about what happened in the life of Oppenheimer, which is truly interesting because the gentleman could read Sanskrit. So when I go back, he quoted a lot about the Mahabharata, which in the Hindu culture, it's a very popular book of reference on guide. And it's basically the Hindu Bible, and he read that throughout his life, and how he came to realize that what he created in the name of science ultimately led to weapons of mass destruction, and it's so relevant in today's world with
Yeah.
nuclear power and how that is being fought around the world. So it's a 700-page book, Nick. So I've taken my time with it. But Christopher Nolan's movie is coming out in July of this year. So I really look forward to it. Oppenheimer is being played by Cillian Murphy. So
Hmm.
now that I'm reading the book, I'm connecting him to the character. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's been a great journey for me. And yeah, that's what's on my shelf at the moment.
Well done. That's fantastic. That's actually when I read, hence where the title of this podcast, Inside the Leadership Cryptex, came from, was Dan Brown's book of the Da Vinci Code. And
Excellent. Yes.
I have not been the biggest reader of fiction. I do a lot of the self-development side of it, but it's my history when I started in the industry in 1998 was in my father's building company called Da Vinci Homes. So
Right.
I
Yes.
was attracted naturally to this book, and then I started reading it. Now, for me, I actually read the book way before the movies come out, and knew Tom Hanks was in it. And the funny thing for me, anyway, reading it and then seeing the movie, it was just so connected. It was great. The characters were great, because it can
Indeed.
have that effect where it can ruin the story.
I agree. I think Ron Howard did an incredible adapting Dan Brown's book to the film. And the
Absolutely.
other books as well, like Inferno. I think
Yes,
Inferno was a fantastic, yeah, adaptation and an even better book. But you know, his books read really fast, huh?
they
Nick,
do. I've
it's
read all
so
three
fast.
of them. Couldn't put them down. They're
Nice.
fantastic. So there you go. And the secrets are coming out of the cryptex now.
Now the public knows, Nick.
That's right.
Awesome.
Now, look, tell me about when we first met. You were heavily involved with REXY AI, and I love that. And and you were before your time in that, and yet it's. I find it quite interesting how it's come full circle. You know, with the likes of Chat GPT and all the other AI. That what you were doing then is sort of like the world's met you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So what's happening with
indeed.
that now? What is that all about?
Sure. So REXY was created in 2018. The idea behind REXY, the meaning behind REXY is real estate XY's DNA, the DNA in real estate. So we're going back to the roots of real estate, which I found, as you know, Nick, back in the 90s. You know, there was a REVA conjunctional element. So you
Mhm.
could conjunct with other agents. They had a system called a multi-list system,
That's
which
right.
is very much, yeah, highly popular in America at the moment, where it's a fair incentive for both the listing agent and the buyer's agent to connect one another. That was essentially our objective, our mission moving forward. And while I was embarking on that journey, 2018, creating that systems for ourselves. So the idea was just to have a system that connects a buyer and an agent together, and it records the conjunctional. So there is no question between how that's done. There's no need for a further email correspondence. Everything is done within the system, and the agent then pays the buying agent at the end of the settlement. So that was the concept. I came across a book that was recommended by Elon Musk. This was written by Nick Bostrom, and it was called Super Intelligence. And it read like a textbook, Nick, but I'll never forget that book, right? And at that time, this was in 2017, and Elon Musk was talking about dangers of AI
Mm.
and how it may supersede us. So I was very curious to see where it was going to go in the real estate industry. Hence why I decided to incorporate machine learning as part of the system, because essentially, while as you mentioned, we were early in the game of understanding AI, incorporating certain aspects into the system was important for where I believe it would come to now. And I had a 10-year vision at that time. So in 2018, we made a short film that showcased where I saw machine learning would be in 2028 Perth. So it's a 5-minute film, and it showed the where my vision of the technology, and it's really funny to see now, as you mentioned with Chat GPT. But I think it was about the foresight of many of the leaders in the industry, and the opportunity that I had to read these materials that helped me forecast better, and also understand where we could take our business in that direction. So it's still very much progressing towards where we want it to be, a
Mhm.
collaborative world, which is supported by machine learning. And at that time when we started, machine learning firstly was very expensive to incorporate into the system. Secondly, it required a copious amount of data. Because if you break it down to the basics, Nick, what machine learning is input output, right? So whatever you input into a system, the output is the result, which is essentially the building blocks of business. So what we needed was a copious amount of data that we couldn't have in a short span of time. So instead of just bringing the business down and hoping for profits in the first 2 years, we took that element out. We incorporated it as part of my core business, and we collaborated with agents, which we still do till today. And the idea still remains, the vision still remains. We need to be a cooperative, collaborative industry. While there is healthy competition, and I respect that, especially for the top 1%, we want our clients, our end clients, to know that within the industry, this is not a game for us. This is something that we take very seriously. We are dealing with your biggest asset, and if we can create a system that can help you get there, why not? And that's what we did with REXY AI.
Absolutely. And I love the name. Now I know where that came from. That is really, really
Thank you.
innovative. I love it. Look, you
Thank
were definitely ahead of the curve with that, and I feel you're probably going to be using it a lot more now with the way the technology is going, and people are becoming more and more used to it. I mean, there's a lot of different technologies around. There's obviously auction online platforms now as well. So, and as
you.
generations move and the next generation becomes the bulk of who you deal with, that's just the norm
Yeah,
for them. That's just the norm, isn't it? So
indeed.
talk to me
Yeah,
about as we finish up the way ChatGPT will work in AI with your team and what your
sure.
future plans are.
Sure. So ChatGPT basically is Google on steroids. That's how I explain it to my team, right? I say that you need to have the right prompts to be able to assist you with your daily tasks. So it's augmentation. So instead of it replacing our roles, what I've told the team is that we need to utilize it to support our roles. So asking it the right prompts, i.e., helping out in writing an advert,
Mm,
right? Essentially, we can ask ChatGPT to write an advertisement or a two-by-two apartment in the heart of Northbridge with these features, and it'll spit out a structure, right? And that structure is done in less than 2 minutes, Nick.
mm,
So what I tell the team is that instead of just copying that structure, you use that as a skeleton structure and you add on your words to it.
brilliant.
Essentially, also it's also a tool that we can use to learn a lot quicker. So asking it questions in specific about real estate in WA, utilizing WA legislation can get you information faster rather than Googling something and looking through links, right? ChatGPT does that for you. So that's how I see it assisting and augmenting our team moving forward.
Mm.
And yeah, that's where I see the future of it, of how we can utilize it better. A learning tool, and also a tool that can assist us creating copies and more potentially once it gets to ChatGPT 4, which I believe it is now.
Yes.
It can assist us in far more superior things that can only essentially help our end clients.
Prash, that's fantastic. And I tell you what, your team members should be very proud to be involved with you. I
Thank
love
you.
your leadership style, your collaboration, the way you're looking ahead at the future, and will really encourage people to get back into this industry because it is a fun industry and you are helping people. That is all we do is help people.
Indeed.
So I thank you so much, Prash, for sharing some of your insights, your leadership styles, and your tips. It's been absolutely brilliant, and I know you're very, very busy, but I'm grateful. So thank you. Please share with me where can people find you if they want to come and do some real estate business with.
Awesome. Firstly, thank you for having me. I do appreciate this opportunity, Nick. It has been a pleasure to be on today. And for anyone that's listening out there, you can reach out to me at www.therealestatetimes.com.au. Alternatively, if you'd like to look at our listings, both rental, I know it's tough out there, and listings that we have for sale, not only with myself, but with the rest of the agents that we have in our agency, reach out to www.perthrealty.com.au. We're here to help you in any matters from through your A to Z of the property journey, and Godspeed onwards and upwards.
Thank you, Prash. You're a true gentleman of the industry, and I wish you every success
Thank you.
over the weekend.
I appreciate you, Nick. You take care and have an awesome weekend yourself.
You too. Thank you, mate.
See you later.